How's it going, everybody? My name is Absoulem and welcome back. This is the next chapter of my full platinum walkthrough for Hollow Knight's Silksong. Today's video is going to serve mainly as a checklist instead of a chronological walkthrough. Consider this chapter 19 and a half. It's not quite the next chapter of 20. In chapter 20, I will continue the actual chronological progression. Today, I'm trying to get everybody on the same page. So I'm going to do a very extensive list here. I'm going to break it into categories. So don't worry if you're looking for what categories I'm covering. I'm going down the list in a sort of chronological order that you might want to do these things in. This is everything I have not shown in Act 1 or 2. It's all of the items we need to do, and I'm just going to go down the list and I'm going to cover here's all the shop items, here's all the upgrades you have to have, here's the locations for all the memory lockets, here's all the enemies you have to farm, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go category by category. I'm also going to split it up and show you a couple fun things that we haven't done yet. We're going to get our player fully upgraded, and essentially at the end of this video I will give you a comprehensive list of every single thing that you should have going into the finale of Act 2. That way we all do not miss any items. We have everything you can collect, because we are at the point of no return, and I would hate for someone to start the next boss fights and then realize that they missed out on some of the tools, and then they missed the trophies and or the mementos at the end, which are tied to some of the completion stuff. Not everything is required for 100%, but what people forget is that there are items that require all tools, and then that would be required for the thing. So when you look it up, it's kind of confusing. Not everything counts as 100%, but 99.9% of everything does count for the 100%. When people say not everything is required for the 100%, it's either steel soul items, or it's going to be the really for example, Chakra and Garamond. These are secret bosses in this game. They are not tied to the journal. You would think that they would be, but they are not. So right here, this Garamond and Zaza, that's not really tied to the journal, but you can get Chakra and him. So it's very little amount of things are not required. So just that's an example. Everything else on this list would be required except for a couple enemies. So it's a little confusing when you go online and people talk about what's required versus what's not. My point of this walkthrough is to show you literally every item in the game, but just also trust me that right now everything I'm putting into this video is probably going to be required for the 100%. And then when we go for the 30-hour speed run, that is going to be the most bare bones section. Okay, today's all about completing out everything. So if you're interested in literally every item, we're going over it today. So brace yourselves and let's get started with today's foreshadowing quote, which is, "It ain't much, it's honest work, but someone's got to do it." Something like that. I don't know. We're farming. Okay, we're farming. Anyways, let me go over my farming loadout. So I am going to run this. We have the barbed bracelet. I have the anklets. I have the thief's mark. Now we buy the thief's mark from Grindel's shop in the Blasted Steppes if you don't already have it. This is going to be an item that is going to give us more rosary beads for defeating enemies. However, we do lose rosaries if we're taking damage, but paired with the barbed bracelet, we do pretty good. And I also threw on the long claw, so we have a little bit more range on our attacks, so we don't get hit as much. So with all that, that's my loadout for that. We are going to start farming beads. So also I'm going to be breaking everything into the chapters. So if you look at the bottom of the video, you can scan the chapters to see kind of what's going on. So let this be the official start of the Bead Farm chapter. So from the first shrine here, it's going to be running back and forth between here and High Halls. This is the late game farm for beads. So just come over here. And you see that we just annihilate these enemies. And see, we're getting a lot more beads per kill now. It's usually 30. See, even if I get hit, it's still more beads than we would have gotten normally, even if you get hit. Because you can see I just picked up 60. So you'll be done in no time. Also, do not interact with this. That's going to trigger the finale of the game. That would be rather unfortunate. I started out farming. I ended up in the boss fight. I don't know. That'd be crazy. Alright, so you'll kill those 5 big guys, and then you'll run up here, and you'll rest at the bench in High Halls, like so, and then you'll just run back and forth between here and First Shrine. So I'm going to do one more path to show you the opposite way. By the way, if you're running into the enemy, you actually end up getting, you can get like a few extra hits. I like to like basically springboard off the back there. So watch, I'm like sprinting. Well, let me get through this room. I'm sprinting and then I hit the attack button right now, and then I can just pogo, and you can usually get a lot of hits on. And with that barbed bracelet, you'll kill him before he even gets to hit him a second time. Ah, dang it. I ran into him. That was my fault. But anyways, that's the bead farm, right? It's not too difficult. We run the risk of losing beads when we get hit, but, you know, that being said, the amount that we gain is substantially more. Because even if you do it normally, you get about 32 beads. This isn't the most fun thing, I get it, but we'll be done with this in no time. And plus, like, by the end of this video, you'll be done with, like, all the farming, pretty much. It's just going to be Act 3's enemies. And then, you know, obviously the main mission, like, stuff. But, like, as far as buying shop items and maps and farming enemies, like, you're going to be pretty much done. But yeah, after, you know, just a couple runs, I'm up to almost 1,000 beads. So that's how fast that can go. Definitely recommend farming. Probably, if you've been following everything I've done and you haven't bought anything extra, save up like 3,000 beads. I think that's what I need to like finish off everything. So now I'm going to let you farm it. I'm going to farm myself. And then I'm going to show you the next step, which is going to be buying all the items. Okay, so now that you've farmed your beads, the next thing I want to showcase is just all of the shops. And basically, I'll just go down the shop, and you want to make sure you've bought everything that they have, except for that last item. They always have like a rosary string or a shard or whatever. Don't worry about those. Buy all the actual items. So I'm just going to show you each shop, and then when we're done, I'll go through the list of everything that I have that you probably should have. So first and foremost, we have the Songclave, the shopkeeper right here. Next up, this is going to be something that you probably even forgot about, but there was a shopkeeper in Bone Bottom. You'll definitely want to make sure you've bought all of their stuff, as I've already done a long time ago, and I'm sure you did as well. But I'm just pointing out each shop. So next we're going to move over to Deep Docks. Okay, so on the map I am right here, coming just to the right of the Bellway, and you'll definitely remember this area. We have the Forge Daughter. So definitely clear out her shop. Again, I just left the shard bundle. We don't need those items unless you just really want them. But definitely clear out that shop. So now that's covered the Deep Docks. We've gone over the Bone Bottom one, and also we did the first shrine or at the Songclave. So now let's move on to Pilgrim's Rest, and I'll see you in that part. All right, so starting from the Bellway just to the main path here, we're gonna go up. Most of these, I mean, I would assume all of them, honestly. You should have these memorized by this point, especially if you've been following along. But just to be, for the sake of being thorough, we're going to go over each shop. And it's a good time to just like double back and check to make sure, did you actually get everything? So I left the two items here that I don't want, but everything else we have bought. Feel free to break the door too. We're done with him. I just don't want to be an asshole. That's why I don't break it. Just, you know, I'm trying to do good in the world. I've killed enough people in this game. All right, now we're gonna head over to the Architect, which we have to get back into the Grand Bellway to get back on the Ventrica station. So I will see you in just a moment at that part. Okay, so instead of going to the Architect, I'm gonna save myself some time and go to Bellheart next instead. So hang on. While we're on the Bellways, we might stick to those merchants. So far we've done Bone Bottom, Deep Docks with the Forge Daughter. We had the Pilgrim's Rest, and now we are in Bellheart, where we are gonna go to this merchant right here. And now I'm gonna ball out of control. I'm gonna buy that, Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be the last upgrade to our home. There's still more things we can do to our house in terms of our desk, but in terms of the upgrades, the spa is the last thing that we need. Oh, looks like I'm just short of that, so I'm going to buy the multi-binder. I'm not going to show it, but just know that I'm buying that right like as soon as I get 40 beads. So I'll do that. When I get to the end of the shop section, I'll go over all the items and you'll see it in there. But let me showcase the spa here. We have nice, good old spa. Anyways, I'm gonna keep working on the shops. I will see you at the next one in Blasted Steps. All right, so this one's just to the left of the Bellway and then up. We've been here already today in today's video. And so I just wanted to showcase, definitely buy everything from Grendel. And let's see, now I do want to like call attention to it. There was a merchant in Hunter's March at the very top, the second to top floor, in the secret room to the left. We've been there multiple times throughout the walkthrough. That merchant dies, and in case you didn't for some reason, we definitely did it in our playthrough, but if for some reason you didn't, go back to that merchant and pick up his items, and that's how you would have gotten the mask, the fractured mask. So definitely, if you didn't go pick that up, definitely go pick that up before you end Act 2. But that's no longer a merchant spot. It's just he loses all of his stuff, and it's going to be on his dead body right there. So if you look at the very top of Hunter's March, where it has the very top horizontal line, it's the second one down. If it makes it easier, it's the room above the bench. You just go to the room above the bench, go left in the secret wall, go all the way down to the end of the path, and you'll find his body. You should have already done it. I just wanted to make sure I mention it during the shop section. But realistically, we have the Bone Bottom, we have the Forge Daughter, we have Pilgrim's Rest. There's that dead body in Hunter's March. We have the Bellheart shop. We have the Blasted Steps shop. And then we also have the Songclave shop. So that goes over all the shops. I'm going to cut and go over the items that we need. So just give me one moment. I'm going to farm some beads and buy that last item in Bellheart. And I will see you for the checklist. Actually, sorry, hang on. We have the Architect one. So we're going to go to Underworks first. Now, the Architect could die on you if you've already bought all of her stuff. There's a chance that she's dead. She dies of old age, actually. It's kind of it's like not as sad as you might think. But the way that happens, you get an item for it. It's not needed for the 100%. And all it is, it's kind of like a shard bundle. That's really all it is. But if you want that item, you have to have bought everything from her. And then once you've done so, you can speak to her. You'll know that she's dead most likely when you don't hear her. Like I don't hear her right now, so I bet she's dead. Yeah, there we go. So, oh, the little butterfly, is that her soul? Anyways, you'll get the pristine core. If you're wondering, like I said, just open up her shop if she's alive, buy everything, including the shard bundle that she sells, and then she'll tell you that her time is near or something, and all you gotta do is just travel away and then come back, and then she'll be dead of old age, and you can pick up the pristine core, which just gives you 220 shells. But, you know, you can keep it if you want. Anyways, that's all the shops. I'll see you for the checklist. All right, so I'm going to go over the items just by showing you our inventory, and you should have everything so far. So just to recap, though, we have the Bone Bottom, we have the Deep Docks Forge Daughter, we have Pilgrim's Rest, there's that dead body in Hunter's March at the very top, we have the Bellheart shop, we have Blasted Steps shop with Grendel, and then we have the Songclave shop as well as the Architect in the Cauldron, and that is all of the shops that you need to have bought everything from. So if you've done that, then you should have, you know, your spool shards should be done. Your mask should be at this point where you have just the last 4 parts. You should have, you know, just 4 left, I guess. And then you should have 3 memory lockets. You should have your toolkit all the way upgraded except for 1 more pouch, which we will get in this chapter as well. But that should be 3 and 4. You should also, the 3 memory lockets. You should have an extra cylinder from Grendel's shop. And then as far as, that's all the items here. I'll go over the player upgrades individually later on. That's another category. But As far as the tools and stuff, you should have, I'll go slow, you can just kind of look and compare your thing. I do have a like complete tools section of this, so I just wanted to kind of quickly go over it in the shops category. You can kind of compare if you'd like, make sure you're on the same page. All right, and then that's pretty much it. So just basically go around and buy everything. You will have everything if you've done that. And then I'll go over the next category, which actually we're going to do a couple side missions real quick. Let's break it up, shall we? All right, so since we've bought the cylinder from Grindel, it's time that we turn in the last cylinder. So what you want to do is drop down and just go back to normal. I'm gonna start farming these enemies on my way through and stuff. So, bottom right, we've done this 5 times now. You should remember where to go. But this is the last one. He's going to tell you that your collection is complete if you do all 6. So, there we go. So, there we go. Collection is complete. It's going to be all of the cylinders. A perfect set. Wow. Thank you. All right, so that's that. Now we're going to make our way to Bellhome, or Bellheart, to go to our Bellhome, and I'm going to showcase everything you need to have for your Bellhome. Now I want to showcase the home. So we've bought all the upgrades. If you've bought the lights, the desk, the spa, and the paint, that should be all 4 upgrades for your home. If you're on Steam, that would be a trophy in and of itself. But you know, we're on PlayStation, I assume. So there's 3 categories. You need to have the Materium, the Relics, and the cylinders. So as far as Relics go, you should have 11. You should have 11 total. So you should have the 4 bone scrolls, the 3 corals, the 2 effigies, and 2 harps. The rest of them we will get in Act 3, but this is the amount of relics that you need to have. And don't worry, I'll show locations in a moment. As far as cylinders, we want to have all 6 cylinders, and we are complete with that. In Act 3, we're going to add another category to all these things, but for right now, I'm just going over everything for Act 1 and 2. So you need to have 6 cylinders, your 11 relics, and then as far as all of these items, we have everything here. So I'm just going to quickly show you the list here. You can compare. If you've done everything I've done, you should have it, but there are a couple items missing that we will get in Act 3. There's like the plasmium one, and then there's another couple objects as well. But we have most of them, so it's not missing too much. I think it's just 2 items left, I believe, off the top of my head. But either way, this is everything for Act 1 and 2. Definitely collect. You don't have to collect all those. I do want to be clear. That is not required for the 100%. However, it is permanently displayed in your home. It looks cool. You can brag. But also, the things that are going to be required, though, are the hearts that we get. That's like the next category is going to be part of the 100%, because those are tied to the endings and things like that. So we've already picked up one if you've been following along, the Seeker's Soul. So basically there's like these items we can redeem for different kinds of hearts later. It doesn't really matter right now. Don't get bogged down too much, but just know that part of the, if you're like online, that if someone tells you the Materium is not required, it's like this part's not, but the rest of it is. So definitely try to have all of them. That's not too difficult to get. And if you've been following along, you'll have everything I have anyways. But that covers the home. But I guess in terms of trophies, make sure you've bought all 4 of the upgrades if you're playing on Steam. That is one of the trophies that I wanted to cover in this walkthrough, even though it's not required for console. Okay, so now I'm gonna insert a map real quick on like all of the relic locations. That would be like the Weaver Effigy, the Coral Commandments, and the Bone Scrolls. I'm just gonna show the world map here, and that way if you're missing one, you know where to go. So let me show you that. Okay, the next category here is going to be the memory lockets. We need to have collected all 18 memory lockets so far. There's 20 in the game, but we need to have 18 by the end of Act 2. So you'll know you have 18 if you have 3 in your inventory, and then you can look at all of your crests. And if every single crest that we have, the 5 crests that we have, if they're all fully upgraded and unlocked, then you'll know, okay, I've got enough in there, and then you should have 3 extra. And then we're gonna apply the next 2 crests that we unlock. There's 5 more slots, so we already have 3 of the 5 memory lockets. And we have enough memory lockets bare minimum to achieve the trophy. You need minimum 17, so you don't have to have all 20, but it is nice to have just for your sake of survival and stuff for the last 2 crests. But just so you know, 17 is the bare minimum if you're like not too worried about it. If you want the trophy, bare minimum 17, and then we'll get the last requirement for that trophy in Act 3. But you should have 18 total in Act 1 and 2. So here is a map of the lockets, so you can kind of reference where those are. All right, so the next category is going to be all of the wishes and deliveries. So here is a full look at everything. So we have our 4 main missions for the storyline, so you'll definitely have those. But as far as actual wishes, we should have, I'm not going to read them all individually, but I'll just go down slowly so you can compare to make sure that you have all of the same wishes. This would be like the 100% pathing for Act 1 and 2. There are several more wishes left, but we'll get those in Act 3. They just haven't unlocked yet. And you'll know that you're done with all of these if all the wish boards are clear and you've done all the NPC quest lines that I've done. So here is a look at all of that. Also, I apologize for the item in my inventory that's just like wailing. Reminds me of that plant in Harry Potter, the like root thing. All right, so that is all of the wishes that you should have. If you have a question on those wishes and stuff, feel free to comment. I'm also going to be linking some valuable resources in the description as well that will help you out, like an interactive map. I'm going to be linking, you know, like just like checklist, I guess, that might help you with locations specifically. That way you have some resources that might help you out. But again, just feel free to ask in the comments if you have a more nuanced question. All right, so I wanted to go over the deliveries here for the like subcategory of wishes. So specifically speaking on deliveries, there is the Bone Bottom, there's the Pilgrim's Rest, there's the Songclave, then there's the Fleetopia supply run, then there's Queen's Egg, Courier's Rasher, and then one more that's called Liquid Lacquer. Now, we do not have to do Liquid Lacquer until Act 3. We actually can't do it until then. And then the Fleetopia, if you want to do it, you can, but I'm going to do it in Act 3. So I'm only looking for the 4 that I mentioned that are for Act 1 and 2. We have Pilgrim, Bone Bottom, Songclave, and then we have the quest one, the Queen's Egg. Now, we already did Courier Rasher. That's tied into Great Taste of Farlam, so you won't actually see it on your list. But the only one I need left for the basic ones is Songclave, and so I'm gonna do that one now. I'm gonna show what that looks like because it's the only one I haven't shown so far that that we should do. And then in Act 3, I'll show you the Liquid Lacquer one as well as the Fleetopia one. So for now, I just wanted to show you these. Also, in case you missed it in the last chapter, these reset. So if you're not seeing the one you want on the screen, just complete one. It'll reset the list, and it's just RNG on which ones you get. So just reset it until you get the ones that you need to do. So I just need Songclave, so I'm going to do that. And this one's not a time-based one. It is a just don't get hit type of wish. So onward. These delivery runs will really teach you the world. Because I mean, you get used to fast traveling and you kind of forget like which ones connect to what. I feel like in this game, Greymoor has to be the section you run through the most. it's like central, I suppose, like, but it just feels like every mission, every area, because you have to like double back for Sinner's Road and Bile Water and, you know, the thicket, and then there's all the deliveries that run through this area. It just feels like they really make you run back and forth through Greymoor like over and over. And it's just like one of the most depressing areas, which I find, I don't know if they meant to make the sad, like, depression town be like the main hub, but fair enough. It's not even the most depressing area in the game in terms of like looks. There's a place later on in Act 3. So we're gonna go back through the mist, except this time it won't actually be the mist. You'll get to see it for what it actually is. Whoops. So yeah, it's like, it kind of looks like it was, but just no mist, except now there's only the one path in and out. And now we're already back out, as you can see, so pretty cool. It's interesting how that works lore-wise. I'd be very curious to see what that's about. Because, you know, like the organ that I'm in right now, the exhaust organ, when we beat the boss here, you know, they stopped playing the organ. And so, there's got to be a better route. Yeah, that was like, I was like, that's way too sketchy. But yeah, see the organ, like once we killed the Phantom or whatever, it was it stopped playing the steam from the organ pipes or whatever, so it despawns the mist. And I'm curious, like, what's the lore behind? Was it the wraiths? Were they making it like an infinite void? Like, why was it a maze? I guess that's my big question. Oh my god, I almost ran into the spikes there. You might remember this area. That's where we got one of the collectibles, and now we're back to where you probably remember. So we're back at the underworks, or not the underworks, the, you know, the main one. The Grand Bellway. So now I'm gonna go up and through the vaults category, because that's the fastest route, I believe. Also, while I'm doing it, I might as well, since this one's not timed, there is an Easter egg people found recently with this desk. If for some reason you are a crazy person and you don't buy the map and quill, if you go the entire game and you find this desk, you can pick up the red feather quill, and it'll make your feather in the icon red. And then it's purple for Act 3. That's as far as the community's figured out. Whether it has an actual purpose or if it's just like to flex, I don't know. But I don't know why anyone would want to get to like Act 3 without a map, unless you just have the whole world memorized. But just letting you know while we're on the topic, might as well show that off because that was recently figured out. Wait, hang on. Just take it nice and slow. Whoops. Take it to this boy right here. Here's your supplies, good sir. I promise I didn't get hit at all. If it looks damaged, it was already like that, I believe. Should take it up with tip. Alright, so that completes that wish. So now you'll see in the deliveries we should have Bone Bottom Pilgrim, Songclave, Queen's Egg, and then of course we did the Courier's Rasher, which is the Great Taste of Farland, which is right there. You can't get that without having done Courier's Rasher. And so now going into Act 3, we will go ahead and get, later on in the game, we'll do the Fleetopia one and also Liquid Lacquer. So those are the last delivery ones. So yeah, that's the delivery section of the checklist. Make sure you have those deliveries done. All right, so next on our list of things to go over would be our player upgrades. So again, we're done with the spool fragments. We have all of those. We have 4 more mask slots. And as far as the upgrades, you should have your Needlein, you should have 2 Silk Hearts, you should have Swift Step, Claw Line, Cling Grip. Our Needle has been upgraded 3 times. We have 1 more upgrade to go. And then I guess that's it for that. And then you'll want to have had the Fey Down Cloak. Our tool pouches at 3 and 4. We're about to go upgrade the last one after this category. You should have your Map and Quill. And then as far as, these are the items that I refuse to waste, like, because I'm not going to break Hornet Statuette and all that, but those are just items that we have in our inventory that could help us, I suppose. But none of these are required for anything. It's just more importantly these items up here. So make sure you have these items. Your spool fragments should be done. You should have that trophy popped. Your mask, we are 4 away. And then that's a look at everything else that we have. So we are on the Hive Steel Needle. As far as tools, I've kind of shown it, but we should have the Cross Stitch, Threadstorm, Silk Spear, Sharp Dart, and Rune Rage at this point. That's all the upgrades that we can get in Act 1 and 2. We should have, for Crest, we should have Hunter, Reaper, Wanderer, Beast, and Architect. And then as far as tools, you should have everything that you see on my list here. Again, in my description, I'll have some more resources and stuff to further explain each of these. If you're missing out on certain things, you'll at least know where it is. But if you've bought everything from the shops and you've done a lot of the quests, if you've done all the wishes and bought all the shops, you should have most of these things, if not all. And then some of them are just found in the world. But if you've been exploring fully, like with the walkthrough, then you'll have all of these. But again, I'll link some stuff in the description to help you guys out. So that's the player upgrades. We've gone over the wishes, the tools, the upgrades, the shop items, and don't worry, we're getting to the enemies. But next, let's go do something fun. All right, so from the Deep Docks Bellway right here, I'm going to show you how to get to this challenge here. This is going to finish out our toolkit. Now, we've definitely already been to this location, but since we've gone to Act 2, now things are different. And it's a pretty cool little mini game of sorts. It is a little tricky, but I promise once you get the hang of it, it'll make sense. Get those enemies. I know I need like a couple more for those guys. All right, so come up here. And you'll see these pink signs here. So that's how you know if it's active or not. There's somebody that's strung up all these lights. I wonder what that could be. So pretty cool little area. Now a ladybug has moved in. If you remember this area from before when we met Grendel for the first time and he gave us the, I think it was the straight pins. Yeah, the straight pins, our very first tool. So now it's time to return and use straight pins because we've obviously mastered them since then. I use them all the time, as you know. Definitely haven't just never used them. But yeah, this is a mini game. And so this little pink line here, we're going to throw it and aim at the ladybug that floats around. You have to hit 15 in a row with only missing 3 to get the toolkit. And then there's one further one that you can do where you can get 25 in a row. And that'll give you a rosary necklace. It is not required. You can go for it if you'd like. I'll showcase what it looks like here. But only get the first one. That's the only one that we need to get. And it does cost rosary beads every time you try. So, yeah, I would farm up like 300 or 400 if you would like to get everything. So yeah, 25. Just take it slow, and I'll give you some advice. First off, if you use the joysticks to aim normally, then don't. I would use the D-pad, and that way you don't, because if you go over the line by accident, then you fail. So we're just gonna take it slow. These first ones are easy. Now, whenever they start going up and down, wait for it to get to the very top, and then you're gonna basically try to time it when it hits the very lowest point. So like right there. It's a timing thing, but I find that if you let it go all the way up and then you time it, you'll be a lot better at the low points versus the high points. And then also, it does the same pattern over and over, so feel free to watch it for a second and kind of get a feel for how it moves, and then you'll be good. Okay, so this one, they always move to 3 different locations, so I try to figure out whichever one I'm most comfortable with, and I go for that. But let it go through the 3, and it gets faster each time. So basically, it has the standstill section, it has the up and down section, and then it has the teleport section. Oh, that's my first miss. You'll see the signs on above my player, they pop up. There we go. Just didn't jump high enough on that one. But now we're going to get our last tool upgrade. That's pretty cool. So now our tools are fully kitted out. And if you'd like, I'll showcase the 25 one. Sure, why not? Let me rip myself off here. I promise if you're not very good at this, you're going to spend more than you actually get. But this one's a little bit harder. I mean, I'm a freaking legend at this, but, you know, it would be hard for mortals, I imagine. No, I just have played this a lot. Oh, what? That wasn't high enough? Oh, dude, I keep jumping too low. What? Oh, dude, it's that low one. Oh, well, you get it, though. That's the point. I'm not going to sit here and waste your time. This is a checklist episode. But, yeah, feel free to get the 25 in a row. You just get a bead necklace. It's like the 220 one, so it's really not even worth it. What is worth it, though, is getting that tool upgrade. So definitely get that. That is what is required. If you do beat the 25 one, I'll probably do it on my off time. But yeah, just talk to him afterwards, and he'll be like, I guess we need a harder challenge for you, and then that's about it. There's no further quest that you have to do with that. But yeah, definitely get the tool upgrade. That is the only thing that's required here. Okay, so here on screen is going to be all of the bosses that you have to beat for Act 1 and Act 2. This will be all the storyline bosses that are mandatory, as well as the optional bosses. If you've been following the walkthrough, you should have every single one of these. But if for some reason you're missing one, I would go backtrack and try to get that. If it's an optional one, like Chakra and Garamond, I think those are the only ones that they don't matter for the journal. The rest of them would matter, so definitely go and try to beat those enemies. Nothing would be missable outside of Garamond and Chakra at this point. but if we progress to Act 3, then some stuff does become missable. So if you haven't beaten all of these bosses, I suggest you go and do that now. And here's the list of all of the bosses that you're going to need. Most of them you've probably already done. If you've followed the walkthrough since the beginning, you'll have all of these. But it's not too bad. It doesn't take too long, but you might have, if you're joining late or something, you might have missed a couple of these guys. And so, I think Unraveled would be one that most people would miss. The Chef in Sinner's Road would be another one that people miss. And then the Wicker Man in the Wisp Thicket would be another common missed one. And then, honestly, one of the most missed ones, in my opinion, is the Volt Nest one in Sands of Carrick, because that's a hidden boss fight. And so, those are the ones off the top of my head that I think people would forget about. And then as far as in the main world, the Sentinel and the First Sinner are some other ones that are like kind of overlooked. But otherwise, most of them I'm sure you've already seen or done. And if you've been following the walkthrough, you're totally good. But here's the full list of the bosses. And now let's move on to our next category. All right, so next up, I wanted to show you a couple different maps. Here is a map of all of the Fleas. You should have all 30 at this point. So if you haven't found all 30, I would do that now. Get those progressed. And then as far as how to progress them to Fleatopia, you could backtrack a couple videos. When I go to the putrefied ducks and things, I think it's 2 chapters ago, I went to Fleatopia. So you could go and watch how I did that. But ultimately, once you find all 30 fleas, make your way up to Fleatopia and read the lore with your Needlin. That is the big ass harp right at the edge of the lake. You would play your Needlin next to it, get the lore, and then you would backtrack all the way to the Grand Gate where all your fleas should be with their caravan. And you would talk to the caravan leader and tell them about the Putrefied Ducks Cave, and then they'll ask you to teleport to Putrefied Cave, and then that'll open up Fleatopia, which also activates the delivery quest as well. But again, we're doing that in Act 3. But here's the map of all of the fleas. Next, I'm going to show you, here's a map of all of these spool fragments that you're going to need for the game. Again, we've already gotten this trophy in this walkthrough, but I just want to make sure that you guys are on the same page. And here is all the locations for those. And now lastly, here is all of the locations for the masked shards up until this point. We are still missing 4 of them, but here are all the masked shards that we have gotten. And so there is that. You should have all of them that we've gotten up to Act 1 and 2 if you've been following along, but there's the map on that. Okay, so before I get into the enemy section of this, I wanted to make it clear that you should have your spool fragments done. Your mask shards should be, where we have 1 mask to fill out. You should have 18 memory lockets. You should have your tools all the way upgraded. You should have most, if not all, the skills except for the last 2 that we will get in Act 3. But that would include like the Fade Down Cloak and then all of these items here. You should have 2 silk hearts. Your weapon should be upgraded 3 times. And basically just copy everything on my screen here. You have all of the tools except for just the last couple tools. We'll get those in Act 3. We have 5 of the 7 crests. Again, we will get the last 2 in Act 3. You should have all the wishes done that I covered, and we're going to go over the journal as well. So hopefully that answers like everything that's mandatory and should be done. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments before you progress. I can help you out, but if you go and progress to the Citadel and complete the boss, you're gonna mess things up most likely. So I would advise, if you're worried about something or have a question, leave a comment. I'll do my best to answer everybody's questions, because once we decide to make our backup saves and go and do the final steps, there's gonna be a lot of things that become off limits going into Act 3. So at this point, once you're done farming, we're going to be starting the end game. We're going to be saving the game in specific spots to allow ourselves to do all of the endings and get all the items. So it's a very specific way we have to go about this. So I wouldn't progress if you don't know how to do all this. But again, I'll make that all very clear in the next chapter. for now, just make sure you're fully farmed. And so that's every item I wanted to cover. And now I'm going to go over the journal with everybody. All right, so as far as the journal goes, I'm going to go over all of that in a moment. And I'll go over exactly how to get everything and all of that. But there is one enemy that we have not farmed yet, and you most likely haven't done it. So what you're going to want to do is equip this loadout. Put the Pompeo and the polyp pouch on your character, and that's going to make the polyp bombs. And then it's these guys right here. I'm in blasted steps, by the way, right there. And so just right off the bench, you're going to see these guys right here. So let me take out the little guy right. It's going to ruin our fun. All right, so as you can see, these guys want to eat me. So I'm just going to come right here. Whoops. There we go. Throw the bomb. And you'll see that it logs our sand carver. This is very similar to the muck maggots that we farmed in that bile water area. Yeah, wherever they went. They're in the bile water section. But anyways, we're going to throw another bomb, and that should finish it, if not already. There we go. So as you can see, we finished out sand carvers. It only takes like 1 or 2 bombs. You get like 20 per bomb, so it's crazy how fast that is. But I just wanted to point out that that is the only enemy that I have not shown us kill in this walkthrough. You'll know that you're done with all of the Act 1 and 2 enemies if you have 180 entries. If you've done every single thing, you should have an even 180. Whoops. So I'm going to go over this in just a second, but I just want to show you, like, it'll look like this, where it's exact. You won't have, it'll be like three, like it'll be threes all the way across, like in increments of 3. If you have like missing one, then you haven't done all of them for Act 1 or 2. So now I'm going to go over each individual enemy and also the tool that I'm going to link for you guys to help you guys out with the locations if you're struggling for that. Okay, so let's go over the enemies. So first and foremost, in the description, you will find an entire resource for all of the enemies, the interactive map, and whatever enemy you feel like you're not finding, you can go in there, plug the name into it, and it'll tell you exactly where it is on the map. And you shouldn't have any issues that way. So if you're wondering like where to farm it, obviously they're broken into categories. Like this one's in the bone bottom, and then this is the marrow. So it's in chronological order, right? But in terms of like exact spots, if you want, I have a whole resource linked. I was gonna make my own maps, but then I found this great interactive map and also a website that gives you exactly where these are and what their names are and all of that. So use that as a resource if you need it. But here, I'm just going to go through some of the items that you need to complete. So let's just assume everything on this list, all 180 for Act 1 and 2, have to be filled out, except for a couple. So I'm going to point out the obvious ones that you don't have to fill out completely in this section. So let's just go down the list. So the first couple, are normal. I'll just stop once it gets to like something a little interesting. The Skull Tyrants we did from the Wishes. The Savage Beastfly, you would only have that done if you've done both of the Wishes, the normal Savage Beastfly, and then again you do the Savage Beastfly Wish. That's how you get the second one filled out, so that has to be done to get that filled out. So don't leave Act 2 if you haven't done that. Let's see, these guys are normal. The Rhino Gruns, that is something that you should have. If you're missing one, it's because you messed up the thing in Hunter's March. Pilgrim's Rest. That door that we opened on the far right was the very first one, and then if you had opened the shop in Pilgrim's Rest, then that one would escape from that door and it would kill the shopkeeper and all that. So that's the first one. If you've killed that one, you're wondering where the other one is. There's another one. I want to say it spawns in bile water, but you can check that resource I'm going to give you. But there is another location if you didn't get that one in Pilgrim's Rest. There's enough to get both, but you might have to go into like a specific spot. But again, that's where that resource is perfect, because it'll tell you every single spot on the map that it spawns. But that's one of the ones that I could see people messing up. Let's see, all of these are normal. Okay, this one is one that you do not have to fill out. You only need one so far. You're not going to have the second one until Act 2. So I wanted to make that clear. The Covetous Pilgrim, don't worry about it. If you have the first one, then you're on track. This is one that we got in Shellwood. It's like a little mini boss that we fought. He was like covered in beads. We killed him towards the end of the Shellwood chapter, if you remember, all the way back in that chapter. But the second one spawns in Bilewater, and then there's one in like way late in the game, but only in Act 3. So don't worry about the second one. So that one's that, and then let's see. All of these guys are normal. That's that that giant slime monster in Wormways, so definitely kill him and then reload the area and you'll find the little guys. So we did that in our walkthrough as well, but definitely get those done before we go to Act 3, because Act 3 is going to change a lot of the world and the enemies either evolve or they are gone. So you definitely want to farm the enemies that are here. I'm just going to point out the ones that you don't have to finish, but everything on this list so far you should have complete in your journal except for the Covetous Pilgrim. Everything else so far that I've shown, you should complete the journal entries. These are the little birds that fly around in far fields. They're like the foreground birds. If you go to the Bellway in far fields, the door that leads out of the Bellway, as soon as you go out, you'll see those little birds. You can kill them and just run back and forth on that. That's a very fast spawn. Those are something you could easily miss. Let's see. All these are normal. These are these enemies that if you killed them with if you're using the tool, the wisp fire lantern, you can actually permanently despawn these guys if you happen to be using it. So I would advise not using that until you've at least got the journal entry. And then Moorwing is the boss. Muck maggots we got in Bilewater. Those are like the in the water. If you just shock the water or do something like throw a tool in the water or something, you'll get those. Just like we did in the blasted steps for the other worms. That works the same way. Let's see. That's the chef in Sinner's Row. Definitely get that boss done. The wraiths are the only thing that if you messed it up, you miss it. There's no way to get that again. It's in the mist. You have to kill enough in the mist to get the journal entry. Again, when we did that, I made that pretty clear, but like that's the only enemy at the moment that you just can't get unless you did it during that mist section. Let's see. Still one of the best names, Duct Sucker. Oh yeah, the Shard Dillards, Shard Illards? I don't even know, whatever. These guys are around the map. There's 5 of them. They look like shards. And we saw there's one in Sands, there's one in Sands of Carrick, right where it connects with Blasted Steps on the right side near Grand Gate. There's one in that, like the elevator shaft on the right. There's one in the Marrow, kind of like in the middle, I guess. I don't know how to explain that, but like dead center on the top side. There's one in Deep Docks and Farfield. So I mean, like, again, that resource I'm linking you will tell you where those are at. But those are tricky to spot, so you might not have had all those, but maybe, because they're stuck into the ceiling, and so you've got to like hit them a few times and they fall out of the ceiling and then you can kill them. But those are a very rare enemy, I would say, for most people. But again, that resource I'm going to link in the description is just a godsend for all of these enemies. It tells you exactly where to get them. And also, if that doesn't work, then just leave a comment and I'll tell you where it's at. That's that hidden boss in Sands of Carrick. Definitely get that. Second Sentinel is the boss we did in High Halls. That is tied to the final audience wish, so definitely get that for your journal. And then let's see. And then Chakra and Garamond and Zaza are not required for the 100%. So if you did miss them for some reason, don't worry about it. They're not required. But it is nice to have them if you ended up wanting them. And then as far as the rest of it, we just have Lace. We have to beat her one more time, which we will do in the next chapter. So as far as the all 180 enemies, that's a look at all 180. Again, I'm going to link a thing in the description that will help you out in finding everything. It'll be very easy to do that. You need to complete every single journal entry and like kill it enough times until it's done. So like if you haven't picked up on it, on the right side, see how it says defeat one more to complete the hunter's notes. You need to do that for all of them. Like that one, I need to kill 5 more times. So get every single thing filled out except for Lace is going to need 1 more, and then the Covetous Pilgrim is going to need 1 more. This guy. So Covetous and Lace, those are the only ones that you're not going to be able to complete. Everything else you should have a complete journal on. Do not progress the game until you have that journal complete, okay? So if you've done everything correctly, you should have all of the journal entries except for those 2. You should have all of the wishes done, all of the tools that I've shown you, all the player upgrades, and all we're missing is the mask shards, the final tools, and the final wishes, and then the Act 3 enemies. After that, your map should be completed. You should have bought all of the stuff. You should have all the maps. If you don't have one of these areas, then you need to buy that map. So if you've been following along, again, that should get you everything up to this point. Hopefully this video has made it very clear what you need to go into Act 2. Again, if you're worried about something or have a question, please drop a comment and I will make sure I respond to these guys, the different questions and things like that in a timely manner, because I know that you guys are going to be eager to start the next chapter. So I will be keeping a close eye on the comments. But that is pretty much everything. And yeah, I guess thank you for watching this tedious little checklist section, and we'll pick up with our proper walkthrough in the next chapter in the next video. So I will see you guys in the next one.